Welcome back. Now we are looking at module 2, and what we want to consider there is book ideation. How you conceive an idea for your book. How you conceive an idea for your book, and what are the components of your book. So that's what we're going to be considering in module 2. Now, in this particular module, we are going to be generating ideas for that book you are about to write. I'm going to be showing you things that you should consider, things that you should bear in mind, and the ways by which you can actually generate ideas for your book. Now, let's consider a standard book. What are the components of a standard book? So I refer to this as elements of an ebook. Now, a standard book should have a front matter, and this front matter should contain the cover page, the copyright page, the dedication/acknowledgement page, and then the table of content page. So that is what a front matter should have. Now, aside from the front matter, the next should be the main content. The main content should include the introduction, which usually occupies the chapter 1, and then we have the body, which is the content that you want to discuss in the ebook. Then after the main content, we have the back matter. Now, in the back matter, we have bibliography. This is where you give credit to the sources you have used in the course of writing the book. Then we have the back page, or what we call about the book page, and then we have about the author's page. So these are what constitute the back matter. Now let's discuss this in full. We have the cover page. Now the cover page is the first thing anyone see of your book. It is the first thing. So it's like a representation of the author. So it has to be very, very, very stunning, amazing, compelling, and attention grabbing, because that's the first impression you make of a book. Now, it usually contains the book title and then the author's name. As you can see in the ebook creation, publishing, monetization, and then you see by Kayode Stephen. So that's a cover page for a book. It has the book title, and it also has the author's name. Now, next will be the copyright page. Now, the copyright page is the protection of the ownership rights to the contents of the book. So this is what gives the author rights, privacy to the content of his book, which makes it unshareable by anyone without due recourse to the author. So the copyright page, very important. Now, it is commonly found at the back of the book's title page. It's usually found at the back of the title page. Then, when you look at a copyright page, it must contain the following. Number one, a copyright notice and year. As you can see, for example, the copyright trademark, then 2021 by Stephen K. So that's what it should contain. The first thing you must see in a copyright page. Now, the second thing you must see is that it must have an ISBN. A book must have an ISBN, though the ISBN is not compulsory for ebook, okay, but for a paperback or hardcover, it is compulsory. It is compulsory, especially if you want to sell that book. If it is not for sale, that is also compulsory. But if it is something you want to, a book you want to sell, then it is very, very important that you have an ISBN, because this is the ISBN actually is the International Standard Book Number, and it's like a book identifier. Okay, it is that a particular set of numbers that are unique to your book, about a 13-digit numbers that are unique to your book. So it helps to differentiate your book from numerous books online or on shelf. So that's very, very important for you to have if you are selling a book with a paperback or hardcover format. Now, what other things a copyright page should have? It should have a disclaimer. Now, this is usually used in fiction books against lawsuit. So you may have certain sensitive materials in a fiction book that you don't want to have trouble over. So what you need to do is to put a disclaimer on your book to let them know that these materials only resemble, but they are not the actual um, material. So you can put a disclaimer. So this one will help you against anyone who takes you to court to sue you for certain elements in your book. So the disclaimer will is to let them know that whatever it is that they have found in your book is just your imaginative prowess. It has got nothing to do with anyone in real life, and that helps you and prevent and protect you against any lawsuit. So you have that. Then you have the permission notice. Now this is a way of giving credit to the source you used. So in this one, maybe you have one or two sources that you have used. You may have to give credit to them, and then you highlight them under your copyright page. Now in highlighting them, the permission notice should include the following: one, the author's info, the information of the author, such as the author's name, the name of the book, and the country the book was published and the edition. Then the publisher's information too, such as the name and the address, and also the author's website. So these three must be present in your permission notice. Now take for example a copyright page here. Now you could see number one, you have the copyright symbol, then the year, okay, and the author's name. Then number two, you have all right reserve. Now this is trying to say that this copyright belongs to you. And then number three, you are trying to put a disclaimer there. This is a work of fiction. Names or characters that are seen in your book are just an imaginative fictional names. They are not in any way referring to the real individuals or objects. So that's the disclaimer there. Then you have number four, which has to do with the design, the one who designed your book. That might not be necessary in all cases. Then you have number five, which is the ISBN. You can see the ISBN 13-digit unique number for your book. You have it there. Then number six has to do with your first edition. Well, that might not be necessary. Then number seven, you have the publisher's information. Okay, so all these are what constitutes a copyright page. Okay, now let's go to the next element, which is the table of content. Now the table of content is usually a table that contains all that is in that book, and it usually precedes the main content. So the table of content is to serve as a quick guide for people to be able to leap to any chapter of their interest. So it's supposed to help them to be able to jump to any chapter of their interest. Now the table of content also is like a list with numbers. Well, some don't use number again, some use hyperlinks that you just have to click and then it takes you to the chapter you are interested in. So but it contains all the list of the various elements in that book, so you can look at it in a glance. So an example is what you have here, the table of content. So you can see how it is chapterized into modules. So that is a table of content. Now next on the elements of a book is the introduction. Now the introduction usually takes the first chapter of the book, and then this introduction is to give you a summary of what is inside the book. So these are steps for writing an introduction. So let's look at the steps. Number one, you summarize the book using the book outline. So of course, when you are developing a book, you must have outline. What you want to write and in what order you want them to write. You want to set them. So you must give a summary of the book using the outline. So because the outline is like an order arrangement of the topics that you have discussed in the book. So you summarize the book using the outline. Then number two, you can start out with a hook. You can start your introduction with a hook. It's just a way of catching the attention of the reader. So you can use a funny story, but very short. You can use a joke, okay, and then you can use an interesting fact or statistics. that will catch the attention of the audience or the reader. Then number 3, you can talk about the purpose of the book, the reason why the book is written, what inspired the writing of the book, and all of that. You can discuss that under the purpose of the book. Then number 4, you can discuss also to whom the book is addressed. Who are the specific target audience? So you can also discuss that in the introduction part of the book. Then you can also find a way of linking the introduction part to the next chapter in that book, so that there is a flow. There's a flow from one chapter to another. So these are some of the things you may want to consider as you're writing your introduction. Now back to the main content, which is the body. Of course, the body covers the whole content for which that book is written, and so the stories are arranged in a particular order, and then you can chapterize them. You can even further divide them into subsections and all of that. So that is the main content of the book. All right. Now the next element is bibliography, and bibliography is just an alphabetical list of all the sources you use while writing that book. So it contains the author's name. Usually you write the last name first, and then the title of the article, the website name or URL, the name of the publisher, the date of publications in the order of day, month, and year. And then this is used the bibliography is used to determine the veracity of the content you are putting out there. So if they want to verify if that content you are putting out there is real and true, then they can just check your bibliography and see your sources. Now the blurb is the one we refer to as the back page, and this is also known as about the book page. Okay, so what you do there is to just give a short description of your book, especially the main content of that book. Okay, and then of course this is written at the back of the book, so it's very important. Next is the about the author page. Now the about the author page is a short promotional piece about you, the author, and is usually written in the third person. It contains the author's name, the credentials of the author, the achievements and names of books written, and your website. Okay, so these are what you have there.